The goal of recruitment posters is to be clean. They have to be. They are made to make something that is not simple easier. They convey pride without a doubt, strength without getting tired, and belonging without giving up. They illustrate the uniform crispness, the confident stance, and the unmistakable message. This is important, and it does. But meaning always costs something, and the cost of service is usually not written in big enough letters for you to see before you sign. This is not an argument against service. It's a case of being honest. Because respect without truth is just a brand, and the individuals who serve deserve more than a slogan. Time is one of the first costs of service, but not in the way most people think. Everyone understands they're donating years. What they don't completely understand is that time doesn't stop for sacrifice. Life doesn't wait for you to come back. You can't see how much they develop in inches. You only notice how old your parents are when you come back. Friendships change or fade away without making a sound. You don't just miss occurrences, you miss the flow of things. You walk back into rooms where people have been talking without you, and you're supposed to pick up the conversation as if nothing happened. You learn to accept this without complaining over time. Service teaches you that some losses are not up for discussion. You learn how to deal with disappointment quickly and move on. That skill helps you stay functional when things get tough, but it also becomes a habit. Even when you take off your uniform, you can still have trouble naming what you desire or missing what you missed, because you learned not to stay there. Identity is another expense. Service gives you one immediately and strongly. Role, rank, mission, and expectations. You know where you are and what you need to do. That clarity is helpful, especially for young people who are looking for direction, but the same structure that gives identity may also take it away. If your sense of self is closely linked to a system, taking it away can feel like erasure. This is what makes adjustment so hard. It's not simply about getting a job or getting used to a new schedule. It's about losing the structure that told you who you were every day. Life as a civilian gives you freedom, yet freedom without rules can be confusing. No one is grading your work all of a sudden. There is no one setting the standard. People don't care how disciplined you are until it helps them in some way. That absence can feel like not caring, even if it isn't. A lot of people have a hard time because they were taught to work in a system that no longer exists. There is also the expense of controlling your emotions. Service doesn't make you feel bad, but it does teach you how to deal with your feelings in a strong way. You need to be in charge of your fear. Grief must be put off. You need to keep track of your anger. Sometimes feelings can get in the way, and it's important to learn how to control them in order to stay alive. But keeping things under control is not the same as solving them. What you don't feel right now doesn't go away, it waits. For a lot of people, the hardest emotional fights start after their service, not during it. The mind can finally process what it couldn't before, when the noise and speed settle down. This is when weight that hasn't been resolved comes to the surface. Memories that were put aside need to be remembered. Questions that weren't important during missions become unavoidable when things are quiet. People don't often expect this delayed effect to appear like trauma. Sometimes it appears like being numb, sometimes irritable, sometimes feeling restless. Sometimes you just know something's wrong, even when everything looks okay from the outside. There is a cost to relationships. Service builds strong, quick, and real relationships. Going through hard times together builds trust that is hard to find anywhere else. Those kinds of partnerships can last a lifetime. But distance also makes things harder at home. Partners learn how to work on their own. Families learn to live without each other. Everyone changes in ways that make sense at the moment, but those changes don't always go back to how they were when you get back. Both sides need to be patient throughout reintegration. The person who served has changed. The people that stayed have also changed. Love stays, but knowing someone well may not. This distance can be hard to deal with, especially since everyone thought it would be easy to get back together. Recruitment advertisements don't depict how hard it is to reconnect, or how sad it might be to realize that some relationships didn't survive the gap. Service also changes how people see things forever. When you've lived in a place where there are quick consequences and no room for negotiation, civilian life can feel out of place. It could seem like there are too many. Your priorities might not be in the right order. People pay more attention to small problems than to big ones. This doesn't mean that military members are better, it just means that they are set up differently. That disparity can make you feel alone. You could feel out of place in talks, but it's not because you don't care. It's because your frame of reference has changed. There is also a physical cost, and it is usually quieter than people think. Some injuries are not evident. Wear builds up. Joints hurt sooner than they should. Long-term changes to sleep patterns. The body learns to ignore pain signals, and occasionally it forgets how to listen to them correctly. You might do well at work, pass tests, and look good to others, yet you might always feel exhausted or stressed in ways that are hard to explain. The body recalls what it had to do throughout the mission, even after it is over. Then there is the moral burden. Service puts people in circumstances where they have to make hard choices. People make decisions when they are under a lot of stress, don't have all the facts, and know that their choices will have actual effects. Even when actions are justified, the blame might last. These times don't always make it clear that they are trauma. Sometimes they show up as self-doubt, feeling like you have to do everything, or a harsh internal standard that never goes away. You grow up quickly in service, but growing up too quickly might leave you with wounds that you can't see. The culture around service makes all of these expenditures much higher. People appreciate strength, admire endurance, and often mistake stillness for resilience. Many people think that having trouble is a sign of weakness instead of a typical reaction to unusual expectations. Some people think they gave up their right to recognize the effects of service because it was voluntary. People stay quiet when they need help the most because they believe this. But even when you know the cost, it doesn't change the worth. There is great pride in service. Growth is genuine. The skills, discipline, and perspective you get from serving others can change your life in big ways. Many would do it again, even though they know what it cost them. But making an informed choice is not the same as making a romantic commitment. When honesty is tolerated, respect grows. It's not that service is hard. It's normal to have trouble. The problem is that service is being shown as solely heroic without understanding how complicated it is. Heroism that isn't honest creates myth, and myth makes people unprepared for the actual world. People who serve should be seen for who they are, not only praised for certain things. If recruitment advertisements disclosed the real picture, fewer individuals might sign up right away, but those who did would do so clearly. They would know that service isn't merely a profession or a stage. It is an experience that changes how you think about time, who you are, how you feel, and what things mean forever. It gives structure and takes away simplicity. It makes things stronger and requires payment. You shouldn't try to disguise the expense of service. It deserves respect. Talking about it honestly gives us a chance to create better transitions, stronger support networks, and a deeper understanding. We help people come home not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. The service doesn't stop when the contract ends. It echoes in your habits, posture, quietness, discipline, and the quiet times when you realize you have more to explain than anyone ever asked you to. That weight you can't see is part of the sacrifice. That is the price that no one puts on a job ad, and that's why it should be said out loud. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.